There's a Japanese woman in her 70s I once saw at a train station in Kyoto. Simple coat, neutral color, 3 pieces on her body, nothing more. And yet, she looked more elegant than anyone carrying designer bags on the platform next to her. It wasn't the price of the clothes. It was something else. The Japanese have a name for it, a concept that's existed for over 400 years, one that Western fashion, to this day, insists on ignoring.
It's called Shibumi, and by the end of this video, you'll understand why it explains elegance better than any designer label ever could. Stay with me until the end, because the third principle of this concept is something almost no one in the West applies, and it's what makes all the difference between dressed and elegant. Before I go further, I need to give you some context, because this isn't internet stylist theory. The term shibumi was born in the Edo period, between the 17th and 19th centuries, and was originally used to describe objects, ceramics, and fabrics considered aesthetically perfect, not because they were flashy, but because they were quietly complete. A subtle, bitter flavor that reveals itself slowly, instead of hitting the palate all at once. Over time, this concept moved from ceramics into dressing, and to this day, it guides the way much of the Japanese population presents themselves to the world. Never with excess, always with intention. This is the opposite of what Western fashion has taught us. Here, we learned that elegance is synonymous with more. More logos, more shine, more new pieces every season. There, they learned that elegance is synonymous with less, but right. Let's be honest, you've probably lived this. A packed closet, and still that feeling of, I have nothing to wear. Purchase after purchase, trying to reach a version of elegance that never arrives, because it's always tied to the next piece, the next sale, the next new release. And the result, in the end, is the opposite of what we were looking for. A closet full of clothes that don't talk to each other, expenses that pile up, and a constant feeling of being one step behind the right trend. The problem isn't lack of money. It's that we're solving a problem of judgment with the wrong tool, consumption. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, a philosophy with centuries of history already solved this equation, and in a way far simpler and cheaper than any fashion campaign would ever want you to know.
I finally compiled everything from this channel into a book, The Complete Japanese Woman. It covers your wardrobe, finances, beauty routine, and home, all built around authentic Japanese principles rather than rigid rules. It's not about owning less or doing more. It's about becoming the woman who already has everything under control. And that includes 3 bonus tools to help you get started today: an identity checklist, a finance spreadsheet, and a wardrobe organization worksheet. It's a digital book, ready for immediate download. Download your copy via the link in the first pinned comment. Shibumi isn't about owning fewer clothes for the sake of austerity. It's about having exactly the right pieces, chosen with judgment and worn with intention. This principle breaks down into 3 practical pillars that anyone can apply to their own wardrobe without spending more, and in most cases, spending far less than they do today. Let's go through the 3 pillars. The first pillar of Shibumi is what the Japanese call sobriety with depth. The idea that a simple, well-cut piece in quality fabric communicates more than a flashy, cheap one. This doesn't mean boring basics. It means every chosen piece needs a reason to exist. The right fit, the right color for your skin, the fabric that ages well instead of falling apart after 3 washes. In practice, this translates into a simple question before any purchase. Will this piece look as good 5 years from now as it does today? If the answer is no, it probably doesn't belong in a long-lasting wardrobe. That's why many Japanese women invest in fewer pieces, but of superior cut and fabric. A well-cut wool coat lasts longer, looks better, and communicates more status than 10 fast fashion pieces piled up in the closet. The second pillar comes from a visual composition principle used in fashion, architecture, and Japanese design alike. Never use more than 3 main colors in a single look.
This rule follows simple visual logic. The human eye processes harmony faster than complexity. A look with 5 or 6 different colors demands visual effort from whoever's looking. And even without consciously realizing it, the observer registers it as confusing before registering it as beautiful. A look with a maximum of 3 colors, usually a neutral base color, a supporting color, and a single point of contrast, is processed by the brain almost instantly as harmonious. And visual harmony is, largely, what we call elegance. In practice, choose a neutral palette as the base of your wardrobe: black, white, beige, gray, navy, and allow yourself only 1 or 2 color accents per look. The result looks more expensive, even when the pieces aren't. And here we arrive at the point I promised at the beginning, the one almost no one in the West applies. There's a related Japanese expression, kichinto, which means roughly in order, cared for even in the details no one sees. This refers to everything that doesn't show up at first glance, but that the eye picks up on subconsciously. Well-ironed clothes with no loose threads, clean shoes, even when worn, inner seams with no frayed edges showing, a coat stored the right way so it doesn't lose its shape. Japanese elegance isn't concentrated in the most expensive piece of the outfit. It's distributed equally across every detail, including the ones no one will comment on, but everyone feels. It's this invisible care that makes the difference between someone well-dressed and someone elegant. The first depends on the piece. The second depends on constant care for everything worn, visible or not. So, putting the 3 pillars together, the practical application looks like this. First, review your wardrobe and identify the pieces with superior cut and fabric, even if there are only a few. Prioritize wearing them more instead of saving them for special occasions. Second, organize your wardrobe around a neutral palette of 3 to 4 main colors, allowing only 1 point of contrast per look. Third, dedicate 5 minutes once a week to invisible care: ironing pieces, checking shoes, removing loose threads, storing coats the right way. This small, repeated ritual is what sustains elegance in the long run, without requiring constant shopping. None of these steps require extra money. They require judgment and repetition. Western fashion tends to treat elegance as a problem of accumulation. The more pieces, the more options, the more chances of getting it right. The Japanese philosophy of Shibumi treats elegance as a problem of judgment. Fewer pieces, chosen more carefully, worn with more intention. And that's exactly why that woman I saw at the Kyoto station, with 3 simple pieces on her body, looked more elegant than any shopping mall storefront. She wasn't wearing expensive clothes. She was wearing judgment. So, if you've always thought elegance meant a packed wardrobe and a maxed-out credit card, I hope I've shown you there's another path, an older one, and a far more sustainable one. Simplicity with depth. No more than 3 colors per look, and invisible, constant care for everything you wear. It's not about having more, it's about choosing better and always taking care. If this video changed the way you look at your wardrobe, drop a comment below on which of these 3 pillars you'll apply first. And subscribe to the channel, because next week I'll show you the Japanese concept behind homes that always look organized, even with very little space. See you in the next video. Everything I've shown you here is just the tip of the iceberg regarding what this Japanese philosophy teaches about living with elegance, presence, and quiet discipline. I've gathered all of this in a comprehensive and practical format into a resource called A Woman Japanese Complete. It's a guide that brings together routine, style, mindset, and the key Japanese concepts I discuss here on the channel all in one place. If you want to stop just trying to get yourself together and start living with that kind of inner order, the link is pinned in the first comment. Just click and download.